one of the best finals I've seen at the Waterloo for many, many years. Still going. It stops. Oh, it's two brilliant balls to beat now, Glenn Vernon. Watch the crowd, listen to the noise. It's on its way. Could be on the bottom. Is he on the top? He's put his hands up, Vernon Lee. He knows he's weighed in. He's won the Waterloo. A brilliant victory. Absolutely tremendous. Great final.
Yes, the customary full house of about 3,500 people here at the Waterloo Hotel in Blackpool to witness the final stages of Crown Green Bowling's most prestigious competition. This, the 73rd year of the Waterloo Handicap. And to give you some idea of what that means, bowling here began 3 months ago with an initial entry list of 2,048 bowlers. This afternoon we're down to the final four because it is the most coveted prize in the sport. Well, this afternoon the Blackpool weather, what they call here illuminations weather, it's a little bit uncertain, it's a little bit grey on top, and of course it might change as the day goes on. It might bring back some memories to many people here of the famous 1976 final, 5 years ago, which lives in memory as the water splash final. That was the afternoon when the heavens opened. There was a veritable deluge and the green was literally underwater.
Look at the water off that wood, Harry, and look at where he's placed it.
Shaved the jack. What a ball. This Buckley really walloped it out, and it's in with a chance, Sis. It's won it. Won it.
Oh.
Good ball. Cracking ball there.
You could really see what these woods are having to plough through.
Yeah, look at this. Water up in the air. And again, he's nearly won it back. Oh, it might have drawn it. It's the referee having a look. Makes some decision, and he's giving it to Illingworth.
So let's identify for you some of the men you'll be seeing in action this afternoon, and to help me do that is Mike Leach, Lancashire champion, Waterloo veteran, though not a Waterloo winner, Mike, yet.
No, not yet.
Well, let's begin with the semi-finalists, of course, this afternoon. Now, we can start with a name I'm sure that is going to be unfamiliar to many people watching this event on television. That's Alan Bratt. Now, what do you know of Alan?
Yes, well, he's certainly the least known of the four semi-finalists, though he won't mind being the outsider of the four. And he's nothing to lose, of course. He's got over a fairly uncertain quarter-final, when I think he would agree he hadn't played at his best. But he's everything to win and nothing to lose now.
Do you think he might be a little bit overawed? Because he's not very much accustomed to big sweeps like this, is he?
No, he doesn't enter many sweeps, but he has experience in the Waterloo. He's lost in the last 16 one year. I think that was back in 1976. So he's been here before and he knows the atmosphere, and I get the impression he relishes the atmosphere.
Now, Alan Bratt's opponent this afternoon is a very familiar name, the name of Roy Nicholson, who, of course, recently was one of the winning pair of the BBC Top Crown competition. Now, what would you say of Roy's chances?
Yes, Roy is the second favourite on the books anyway, and would be my personal choice to win the tournament. He's having an exceptionally good season, playing very well. Of course, he and his Gene Barden in the pairs beat Noel Burrows and myself in the quarter-finals. So if they were both to reach the final, there'd be a revenge match there.
Would you say that in some ways Roy Nicholson is the form player?
He is, of the four at the moment. Noel Burrows has not been on such good form, though obviously he's coming back to form.
So it's Alan Bratt and Roy Nicholson in the first semi-final that we'll see this afternoon. Let's move on to the second semi-final. Another perhaps unfamiliar name to many people, Brian Proles. Now, tell us about him.
Yes, he's a very, very good competitor, very keen, tries not to waste any woods at all. and I have the highest regard for him as a player, and I think the green will suit him.
Could it possibly be a day for outsiders, do you think, if Brian Proles can be considered to be an outsider?
Well, he's an outsider because he plays Noel Burrows, who's the bookie's favourite. I think he'll give Burrows a very good game, though I suspect perhaps his record against Noel Burrows isn't so good so far. But anything can happen in 16 up.
Indeed it can. Now, you've mentioned the name of Noel Burrows, of course, who is, we can say, the odds-on favourite to win the Waterloo this afternoon. Is he your fancy as well?
Not at odds-on, but he's certainly the class player of the four, with all due respects to the other three. He's won virtually everything there is to win, doesn't suffer from nerves, plays exceptionally well under pressure, and is a very fine player.
There are those who said, though, that Noel's had a rather indifferent season by his standards this season.
Yes, by his standards, that's certainly true. But the way he played against Len Higginbottom in the quarter-final was remarkable today. He gave Higginbottom no chance.
What everybody wants, I imagine, the 3.5 people packed around the green, is a final with Roy Nicholson and with Noel Burrows.
Yes, I think that would be the people's choice.
So, have you your own particular fancy then?
Well, I've seen Roy Nicholson earlier in the week, and I've told him that I think he'll win it.
Right. So, now then, to another man who has a very great bearing on the outcome of the Waterloo, which is Jack Lee, who is the organiser of the competition, the Greenall Whitley bowling manager. Now, Jack, we've had a lot of inquiries. It's called the Waterloo handicap, of course, and the handicap system does apply. We've had very many inquiries to explain this. Can you explain the handicap system to me?
Well, the most... really it's done to handicap people that have won the tournament, in so much that everybody joining the handicap are off a handicap of 5 start. Now, if they win it, we drop them 2 to 3 start for the following year. And if they run it up, 1 off, that's 4 start for the following year again. And then if they go 5 years without winning it, we give them 1 back.
OK, so let's just have a look at that. Let's explain it. Everybody who's in the competition, and it's 21 up, of course, in each game, starts with 5. But if somebody has actually won a Waterloo Championship, they start with 3. They start at that handicap.
That's correct, yes. And after 5 years, they get 1 back. After 10 years, they'll get the 2 back, so they go back to 5.
What's the feeling within the game about that system of handicapping? Is it the fair way of doing it, and does it really matter?
I don't think it really matters. I mean, all the bowlers accept it, and they've accepted it for 73 years, so I don't visualise changing that in any way whatsoever.
I mean, you wouldn't say, with a man like Noel Burrows, you wouldn't make out a case for saying, well, perhaps he should be handicapped even further, he should start from scratch?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, when you come to consider that Brian Duncan, one of the hot pots of the ground green bowl, he started off 5. So why shouldn't everybody else start off?
And is it really fair on the real outsiders, the men like perhaps Alan Bratt, that they should only start with 5? I mean, is there a case to be made out for saying they should have a bigger start?
Well, over the years, there's many an outsider won it. Many an outsider.
So it's a good argument for the handicap system?
Well, it is really, because, I mean, Len Higginbottom's won the spring Waterloo of 5, but he can't win this one. And Arthur Murray's won this one off 3, but he can't win the spring.
Good. Jack, thanks for the explanation. Thanks very much indeed. And so, to the beginning of this afternoon's action, the first semi-final. It brings together the outsider, Alan Bratt, and one of the favourites from Yorkshire, Roy Nicholson. The commentary, as usual, comes from Harry Rigby.
This is the first semi-final of the Waterloo 1981 between Roy Nicholson of Yorkshire from Halifax, and his opponent is the Cheshire County player Alan Bratt from Middlewich in Cheshire. Roy Nicholson there in number 2, the plaid cap. Just waiting to get on the mat, set the first mark in this great Waterloo handicap. Nicholson, well remembered for his half of the winning championship in the BBC Pairs competition. There's his opponent, Alan Bratt.
The first semi-final, ladies and
Cheshire man from Middlewich. It's the
captain of the Middlewich Bowling Club. Also plays for the Good Companions at Holmes Chapel, which is just a few miles up the road from Middlewich. Bratt, number 4, the black shirt. And Nicholson, the plaid cap, slight adjustment, so the wind won't take it away from him during play. Alan Bratt sets the first mark in this semi-final. Both on 5, 21 up. Runaway, just set a mark, not made a good lead. Perhaps a little bit jumpy to set the first mark. Got to make these early woods count. Nicholson, very, very keen competitor, having a good season. Got to get inside that ball to count, and does it. Played a good ball for a start. Certainly quite a character to get rid of, this man Nicholson. Doesn't give much away. Alan Bratt, Cheshire man, down. Made a bad lead at the first end. Now he's got the ball to lick and throws one away to the right, off the road. Really bad start there from Alan Bratt. Nicholson now looking for a comfortable double. He missed the chance. It's got to run. Not taking it. Well, Alan Bratt there got away with it. Nicholson smiling a bit ruefully to himself. He knows he should have had a brace there and died short. Number 2, Nicholson, pegs 1 there, takes him on to 6-5.
And perhaps not the opening that either player would have hoped for from that first end, neither Alan Bratt nor Roy Nicholson. But Roy Nicholson counts 1.
You're quite right there, Richard. I know that early comments said that Bratt was the outsider here, but this man's been the Cheshire champion. I remember him winning it at Rolls-Royce in mid-Cheshire a few years back, and he beat Dennis Mercer in the semi-final that day. Very good player, Bratt, but he failed to utilise winning the jack, and that's, you know, not a very good thing here. You've got to make woods count here if you want to get through. It's only a 16-up game. You've got to get busy early on. Now Bratt, short. Nicholson down. Made a really good start in this semi-final. Gets another. Alan Bratt there now, in a bit pensive. He's got to get in early. You can't get too many behind in early stages. It's only 16 up, really. They've both got 5 starts, 21 up. Running far enough, could win it. Run on, good ball. 1 to Bratt.
And certainly Alan Bratt will feel very much more comfortable about that. His second wood, finding the jack. A little smile. The sort of confidence that perhaps he needs at this early stage of the semi-final.
Well, it's always early doors. Things might go a little bit wrong for you. Don't want to make too many mistakes, or let your opponent get too far away from you, beyond recovery. And now Bratt just steadied the boat a bit. After opening out a little bit difficult, he thinks this is a mile to par. Banged his knees. I don't think it's a mile off the jack, me. Might be trying to pull Nicholson's leg a little bit by making these signals. Good ball. A half a yard short. And here's the Nicholson wood on its way. Oh, what a great ball. Wonderful ball there from Nicholson. I know, Richard, that his successful partner in the BBC Two Top Crown Pairs, Jean Barden, is watching this today. I know that he wants Nicholson to win the Waterloo more than anything, except himself, of course, who got seen off at early doors about 6 weeks ago.
And there's the man he's got to beat, Alan Bratt. Nicholson's wood lying closest to the jack at this stage. What can Bratt do about it? Not very much by the looks of it.
Going like a train, Richard. Gone round the back.
Roy Nicholson looking now for 2.
Bit of a chance it might have stuck 2 back just a little bit. There's Nicholson on his way up to the end.
Roy Nicholson certain of 1. He'll take the 1. Roy Nicholson. The Yorkshireman counts 1.
You know, it's a marvellous sweepstake, this, Richard, because you get to certain stages here where every game seems to be the most important game in the world, like the one that gets you on the card, and then the one that gets you in the semi-final, and then you get in the semi and you think, God, have I got this far and I'm not going to get in the final. You know, this is the sort of pressure that these players play under.
They say in so many sports, Harry, that the semi-finals are actually harder than the finals because the disappointment is that much greater.
Well, you can see all the glory, all the money's piled up there on the bench. It's only an arm's length away and you can't pick any of it up if you get licked. Plus all the glory. And yet you've seen it all. You know, you're there, you're on the doorstep and you can't get in. One of these two lads will know the glory. Nicholson or Alan Bratt. And Bratt's had a marvellous tournament. He's sort of played in a quiet vein, more or less the underdog. And yet he's played really well.
Well, that was Roy Nicholson's second wood, resting against the jack. Alan Bratt with his reply. Looks a little bit apprehensive about it.
Won't get there.
But has he stopped Nicholson from counting 2? One to Roy Nicholson there, adjusting his cap. Makes Roy Nicholson 8. Alan Bratt on 6.
I've seen this lad Bratt play quite a lot, you know, in the Cheshire territory. He's a very highly respected player, very, very difficult player to beat. And of course had a marvellous run in this tournament now, and he's in with a shout as to getting in the final. But Nicholson, of course, quite a hard opponent to get rid of. Doesn't give much away. Very good control. Again, making a marvellous lead. Setting a few problems here now for Alan Bratt, this lad, Roy Nicholson. Beautiful shot, this, if he can run. He's on a marvellous road, but it's shorter legs, packed up, won't come any farther. Nicholson down again, beautiful road, just pegging a little way to the left. Can he rub the jack? It's gone well past, but it counts another. Bratt down. Looks a little bit on the bottom side. He's got to get past his own wood. Might touch it, almost win it now if it runs on, and a bit more. Oh, it's a chance, that ball, for me. Bratt likes it. Nicholson now having a look round the backside. Give it him. One to Bratt.
Little nod of the head by Roy Nicholson. And a sigh of relief from Alan Bratt, counting 1. How do you think the green will be playing, Harry? It's a damp atmosphere, but the ground is dry. That doesn't sound too much of a contradiction.
Well, the green's playing, in my opinion, the green's playing quite comfortable. It's not heavy. It's running sweet, nice, easy pace. It's not roaring. Got a lot of rain recently, but the green is in such wonderful condition. I've been coming here a few years, and I'm very surprised to see the green in such marvellous condition. It's really in full bloom now, Richard. I think this is due to these lads that look after the green. I believe Jack Brodie's the man, the horticultural manager of Greenall and Whitleys. And naturally, Jack Lee's one of the men responsible for it, and Bob Hull, who is the lad that keeps pushing the moor up and down. And look what he's come up with, Richard. It's beautiful. Everybody's been full of praise for the green.
And at this moment, it suits Alan Bratt. His first wood is closest to the jack. That's his second wood on the way.
Come on, Roy, get it going.
A little bit round the back.
Yeah, two fair balls, Richard. I think he's got his length a bit now, Bratt. He was a little bit edgy early on, but he's found one or two good balls, brought him back in the game. Thinks this is short, and it is.
Get him up, Alan.
Alan Bratt quite certain that he counts two there. Little blow of the cheeks, and he'll be delighted about that, because counting two means that Alan Bratt takes the lead. 9 to him, 8 to Roy Nicholson.
I think Bratt's just had a little bit of a talk to himself, Richard, and he's got things running right now. Found his length.
That's
settled down for the atmosphere. Is now beginning to just, you know, sort of begin to live a little bit on here now, Bratt. I've noticed him springing about and doing a few trots. No,
let's hope he doesn't get carried away with himself. He's just put the jack off the green, but he gets the jack back, which is a rule that is in some ways peculiar to Waterloo and not to the British Crown Green.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Richard, because next year I believe that they're going to come in line with the British Crown Green rule, which is one chuck. If it goes in the pit, you don't get it again.
Oof. Well, don't think Roy Nicholson would be too concerned about Alan Bratt's lead, although that's not much better.
Bratt asking for information, how far off? Nicholson's just died at that end, and Bratt now looking for another. Got to play far enough. The crowd already tipping this ball. Looks to me as though it's travelling a little bit. Might go through the gap. And gone.
Got to fancy a player like Roy Nicholson maybe to get in here now. Plenty of room around the jack.
Far enough. Far enough. It's his own. He'll make it. Go out now. Can't win it.
Well, Roy Nicholson, you can tell by the look on his face, is not too pleased about his bowling at that end. Waves a hand.
He fancies his own, Nicholson. Bratt's given it to him. That was a remarkable ball from Nicholson there. He played at that short ball. Goes flying through with his second. He looked as though he was trying to make the short ball to me, and yet when he gets up to the end, Bratt concedes the point.
Leaves it 9 across.
Nicholson trying to break up Bratt's length here by switching the land, going away into the bottom corner. Bratt now having to find a little bit more in his woods. Difficult road, finger peg, cooking away. I don't think it's give up. Bratt now really getting interested in this match. He's getting a bit lively. He's waving that ball away, asking it to stop. Run away. Away in a very funny position. Bratt, number 4. Always keeping his drag handy there, Richard. A lot of people don't bother with that when it's not raining, but it may be a psychological help to him. He might rush off and do somebody's windows with it before he's finished playing today. Far enough. Crowd giving this a shout. Has a chance. Oh, it's fell over. Bratt looking there for a sign from Nicholson that had won it, but Nicholson has given him nothing. Nicholson takes the maximum, Nicholson. 2.
So a disappointing end for Alan Bratt there, going up to have a look, closer look, although it's already been judged that Roy Nicholson counts 2, 11, 9.
Nicholson set a mark here a fairly long way, somewhere in the region of about 50 yards or more, which is a little bit uncharacteristic really of Nicholson. He may have thought about it, Richard, and said, well, that's where my future lies, because Bratt is very, very good over about 35 yards, and Nicholson finds a wonder ball. Well, he can't be displeased with that, Richard, can he? Can't get him much nearer than that. Bratt got to play at it. Got to be far enough. They're coming thumb peg into the bottom side of the green. He's on the top side. Not a bad ball from that distance. He's about 4 foot past the jack. There's plenty of those counts at the Waterloo, but unfortunately for him, Nicholson has one smack in front of the jack. Gonna come down the hill a bit more to count, and again, gets another.
So Alan Bratt faced with what I'm sure many people watching will think is an impossible task, that ward of Roy Nicholson's lying right against the jack.
We may leave a double. May leave a double. Just save one. Just crept round the short wood of Nicholson's, otherwise it would have been a double to Nicholson, but he just counts a single to go 12-9 in front.
Nine ends played, and the man that most of the money is on, Roy Nicholson. 12-9 in front.
Nicholson's had a fair season this year. Full member of the Yorkshire County side. Bit of a chance this ball for me. It's got to be stopping, but it wins. No doubt, a very good ball there from Alan Bratt. Nicholson got it all to do again. Just had a very good ball lick there from Alan Bratt, and Nicholson missed the road. Just put it off the land there, and it'll start to kick away to the right now. No hope for that one. Bratt, number 4, going back. Happy he's got one in and one to play. He's 12-9 at the back, counting one. I'm sure he'll try and look for another. Crowd already beginning to tip this ball. He's got to do a bit more yet. And again, listen for the roar. He gets one a length. No doubt to him. Nicholson concedes the end. 2 to Alan Bratt.
So Roy Nicholson keeps stepping in front, but Alan Bratt has the tenacity and the ability to peg him back.
They're just trying to break each other's length here, Richard. You notice Bratt now has altered the territory again. He's come away from the middle of the green, playing, you know, almost parallel to the edge. The crowd condemning this ball. He's not sent it far enough. Nicholson now puts some more in it. Can't be a mile away. Very good ball. Brilliant wood there.
A bad wood from Alan Bratt, and Roy Nicholson steps in smart and lively, as you'd expect. Got to do some repair work now, Alan Bratt.
Well, he's made his own problems. Not been far enough, and the crowd already condemning this ball. Bangs into his own. Nicholson now should count a double here.
A really super picture. You can see how this ball is swinging, it's pegging in.
Brace, wrap the jack twice, counts the maximum at the end, 2 to Nicholson.
And if anybody ever wondered what Crown Green bowling was all about, I think that picture summed it up completely.
Yeah, I bet Alan Bratt doesn't forget that end in a hurry. Just played a good ball, comes back, alters the land and drops in his own trap. Short, bangs into his own ball with the second, and Nicholson's in there for a maximum to give him a 3 chalk advantage. 14 Nicholson and 11 to Bratt. And Nicholson's done exactly the same and left it a mile short. Well, he's really concerned about that, Nicholson. He knows he's made a terrible error. Bratt now got to play up. I think we're going to have to get the sheepdog out here, Richard. They're beginning to spread out a little bit to bring them in. Both under a little bit of pressure, looking for Lander to pay off it in good chalks, and Nicholson labouring again here. Can he get up to the jack? And again, won it. There's Nicholson on his way over. It's urging that ball on there. There's a little bit of a hill there, down into the dip. Watch this ball as it runs on. It's going to go out and missing. 1 to Nicholson. Retrieved the situation well there, Richard.
Stern-faced Alan Bratt, who's been encouraging himself, talking to himself, trying to increase the concentration. That's certainly what he needs. This now a crucial stage of the game. Roy Nicholson 15, Alan Bratt 11.
Yes, he is worried about it, Bratt. There's no doubt. He's having a quiet chat to himself. I think he's told himself that he's not going to give himself half the prize money if he doesn't start shaping a bit, because Nicholson now is likely to really hit his length. Coming down the hill. Got to run on a bit more. Fair ball. Beatable. Not a difficult piece of land. They're playing finger peg. Swinging peg away. Watch this ball come in now. And again. Moving in now to the right as it finishes. Round it goes. Fell over the right way, but Luke's the nearest. Nicholson down. Just trying to put a yard in that short ball on the narrow side. But must win it. Won it, that. Certainly got one. Alan back, trying to close the gap, and the crowd condemning this ball as short. Won't get anywhere. Nicholson walks away from that. He knows it's no danger. And chalks one.
So Roy Nicholson, the man in the plaid cap and the blue anorak, now with a very useful lead indeed. 16-11.
I think it did him good here when he won the BBC Two Pairs title with Gene Barton, Richard. He seems a bit more comfortable on the green now. Picked up a major title, carried on playing well. He got licked in the final of the Warrington Charities this year with Kenny Armitage. He was in the last 8 here. And, of course, he played really well to win the big Alan Carlisle sweepstake at Patrickcroft.
But it's going to be a very big test of Alan Bratt's courage now.
I think she's back Nicholson, Richard. Got to be stopping. Got to be stopping to win. Trickles away outside, and Bratt has another brief talk to himself there. Said, stop doing that, otherwise I'm not going to play with you anymore. Nicholson trying to get another. Asking Nicholson to confirm the worst. And here's Nicholson, watch his hands, up they go. Bad news for Alan Bratt. Didn't want him to do that. Here's the mid-Cheshire man, Middlewich player. Give it a chance. Just gone. Might have saved one. Well, he played a good ball there, really, Bratt, although it didn't count. They're saying good balls don't count anything, but he played to try and win or save. He knew Nicholson had 2. Nicholson whips the winner out. Brief coats. Alan Bratt not to be outdone, flirts the one out that has no chance at all. And now they're asking for the string. Nicholson, I mean, gives it another quarter, looking over at the back, and these lads obviously sorting out which way the money's gone, hoping that the measure will go for them if they back Nicholson. And some of the Cheshire people no doubt supporting Bratt. Both quoted at prices. Bratt was about 7 to 1 at the start of this semi-final. Nicholson a hot second favourite behind Noel Burrows.
And people looking at it from all sorts of different angles will have made their own decisions. But he says 1, and that's 1 is to Roy Nicholson. Makes Roy Nicholson 17. Alan Bratt remains on 11. Alan Bratt, for the last, 5 ends, has failed to score.
Nicholson, he really gets down to flirts them out, doesn't he, Richard? Just pushes them away at the last minute. Watch this one swing in, but there's still a lot of ground between the wood and the jack. Bratt must be happy with that lead because it gives him a chance to play a winner. But it's a long way finger peg, and he's got to run to win, not beat it. This is a big thing in this handicap, Richard. If you can count bad balls, and they are not good ones of Nicholson's. Again, he's played another rambler, and yet they're still in with a chance of counting. Bratt's got to take advantage. He's staying in this match at all, and he played short. Won't get there. Oh, very, very wayward ball there. And Nicholson must think it's Christmas. No wonder Bratt's talking to himself there. It's enough to make anybody talk to themselves, them 2 balls.
And what it means now is that Roy Nicholson, barring a major upset, is going to get into the final of the Waterloo. Alan Bratt's got an awful lot to do. 19-11 down is Alan Bratt. And doubt that if many people in the crowd now doubt that Roy Nicholson, the favourite of this pair, is going to get through.
Yes, come back over the middle, looking for a double. Been a few upsets here in the past, but not many. Nicholson looking for a good lead again, doesn't find it. Left a lot of land there between the jack and the wood. Alan Bratt again given a bit of a reprieve here. Now if he can get in and make a lead with the jack, he might get back in with a chance. But again, he's not. He's lost his length. Nicholson trying to improve on his lead and going on. Misses the jack, he'll go a long way, but he's wrapped the jack and knocked it down the hill. The ball of Nicholson's did everything right, and we see Nicholson on his way over, and there's Alan Bratt's second wood. Just trundles down past. Bratt coming up to learn the worst, goes round the back of the jack. That's the best vantage point. Fancies his own. Nicholson doesn't agree, signals for the string, and on come the measurers. He's playing football with that wood at the back, Alan Bratt. I think he's a bit fell out with himself at the moment. He's given himself that much instructions, and I don't think they've worked. He's had some great chances at licking bad leads. I bet he's really kicking himself. Now he's got to watch the measure. Thinks he's in with a shout here. Nicholson never said a word. And Bratt counts the end.
Where go?
Now Bratt, who's normally showed good control across the middle of the green, has elected to go a long, long way to see whether or not he can play enough good balls to catch up Nicholson, and he starts off with a real cracker. Nicholson, who's surprised a lot of people in this tournament with ability to beat good balls, and Bratt setting the task here. Very nearly does it with this one, but just goes out. Bratt can pair this one up and then make a good lead going back. There'll be some hope reborn, I think, to give him a chance. But he's well back now, and he's doing the trip. He's down the backside and gone out. One he has. Nicholson down. Certainly be far enough. There's no way that Nicholson's going to be short at this ball. And if he can run, it's a chance of winning this. Found one. Gets down the hill. Oh, it might be second. It's banged into that ball belonging to Bratt. Lifted it up. It's rocked Nicholson's wood back. Nicholson doesn't know what's happened, and Bratt's already signalled he counts a single at this end. I think he'll wait for Nicholson to come along so that he can tell him the bad news. Nicholson, bit of a smile, doesn't mither about it, accepts it. One more to Bratt. Almost another real winner there from Nicholson, but failed by about an inch. Bratt now, he's got no other ideas now. He knows he's got to go a long way and play him close, because Nicholson's matched him and beaten him on the shorter marks. And he's played one. Just a yard round the back. It's gone a bit, but it's not a bad ball there. Even so, it's gone about 4 or 5 foot by, but it runs, finger peg mark. Starts stopping now. Well short of the jack, but it's the winner. Not an easy mark. Bratt plays the same pace again. He could leave Nicholson with a chance to weigh in. 21, and Bratt's left it short. Now Nicholson in with a great chance of getting the double that will take him into the final of this Waterloo handicap. Nicholson down. The man from Halifax plays with Ackroyd Park. Got to be far enough. I think it's a handshaking job here. And Nicholson goes through with a double. 21 against Alan Bratt of Biddlewich in Cheshire. 13. Nicholson into the final of the Waterloo. As the crowd now, they know one finalist, and they're waiting now to see what the next semi-final will throw up for the other. Yes, there's Roy Nicholson now, who was the winning half of the BBC Two Pairs Top Crown Championship, already en route for another major title if he can keep that sort of form up. Alan Bratt there stopped talking to himself and had a word with Nicholson. But had a marvellous tournament, Bratt, to reach the semi-final of the Waterloo. Just failed to get the last hurdle to take him through to the final. Nicholson now can relax and sit down and watch the next semi-final.
So there it is, the first semi-final going very much to form. Roy Nicholson beating Alan Bratt 21-13, but I'm joined again by Mike Leach. Mike, I imagine that Alan Bratt will be rather disappointed with his performance in that semi-final.
Oh yes, he will. He hasn't played up to form at all. He will be very disappointed with the way he's led when he's had the jack, and the fact that he's allowed Roy Nicholson to count some not too impressive woods.
You were watching it very intently, I know. I mean, is it possible to hazard a guess as to what might have gone wrong for Alan Bratt? I mean, very little went right, actually.
Yes, this is true. I think Roy Nicholson early on has broken Alan Bratt's length by going some distance, and then after that Alan's not been able to find his length at all on the short mark.
Yes, as you said, there was, I mean, Roy Nicholson was getting away with winning some ends with some rather indifferent woods. I thought one of the significant points of the game was at about the 8th end, which we can look at now. It was 9 across at this stage. And early days, obviously, Alan Bratt had been hanging on by his coattails almost, but yes. I thought this perhaps marked a little turning point in the game.
Well, Roy makes a very useful lead, and I think it's a finger peg mark. It's not an easy mark to get on the land, and perhaps Alan's concentrated a lot on trying to get on the land, and he's not found a length at all.
Alan Bratt was certainly looked to be concentrating very, very heavily indeed. He was talking to himself, he was slapping the thighs, he was trying to will himself into the game, as we can see there.
Yes, well, he's a natural extrovert, I think, and the trouble with that, of course, is it's all very well if things are going well for you, but if things aren't going quite so well, it's very difficult to raise your game.
Do you think that at this stage of the game he perhaps thought it was slipping away from him? It was 9 across, it's difficult to say, but I mean he was a little bit worried, I think.
Yes, well, he'd perhaps been fortunate just to be 9 across, because on each of the ends where Roy had scored, he'd had chance of 2 and he'd only scored 4 ones. And this was a bad bowl, really, to leave it short. And Roy counts the end, and Alan's played 2 short bowls, and that's a terrific encouragement for Roy.
So if Alan was a little bit discouraged about that, I think we'll notice if in a few minutes' time we can move on to what was the 9th end, and perhaps here we can see quite clearly what I mean about a turning point in the game, because Roy seemed to pick up a certain amount of encouragement and a certain amount of confidence at that stage.
Yes. Well, it's nice, in the early stages of a game, it's nice to get away with counting a wood 4 to 5 feet short, and to be counting 2 at the end of the end.
So this, if my memory serves me correctly, was the beginning of the 9th end. Roy Nicholson sets the mark.
Yes, he goes thumb peg in just about as far as he can. It's a good mark for his woods, because he can set slightly above the jack, and he can, generally speaking, play them near.
And here I think we'll see the important one, what I thought must have been a pretty demoralising sight for Alan Brett.
Very true. Yes, he leads just about a front toucher. A perfect ball.
And one that the crowd very much appreciated.
Well, the Yorkshireman did anyway.
Although, of course, there was still a lot of play left in it at that stage. We were only up to, what, 12... No.
11-9 at this stage,
9-11,
lying
yeah.
to be 12-9. And Alan Bratt does what he must do. He reaches at it, goes a few feet past. And Roy...
So, Roy, knowing now that he's got one touching the jack.
Plays another, and I think this one stops about 2'6" short, thereabouts, but counts.
One of the indifferent ones we talked about earlier, I think.
Yes. And actually, as this wood came across, I think Roy would expect to be counting 2 after this end, but it just manages to save. It just goes on the top and passes Roy's wood on the wrong side, but just manages to save with being a slightly better length.
So that was it. I thought that was a fairly significant turning point of the game, and we're joined now by the victor of that first semi-final, Roy Nicholson. Roy, congratulations. We looked at that a little bit because, as we were saying before, that seemed to be the end that sort of separated the two of you. Well, would you agree with that?
I should say so, yes. Yeah.
Because up until then, Alan had been sort of clutching at your coattails, but
yes,
not making too much of an impression.
He'd not made any leads when he led the jack, you know, and I capitalised off his jack, really. Went on from there.
But what about your own play, your own form? Were you entirely happy with it?
Not really, no. It's a bit hot and cold at the moment, but I managed to struggle to the final, so I might be able to play a good game in the final.
Does it detract from your confidence in the final or not?
Not really, no. It's nice to be in any final, especially this one. I've been suffering from a cold all week and finding a bit weak now, you know. But,
what, you prefer it a bit warmer out there, would you?
no, it's warm enough, no, but I just feel drained.
So what really think swung it in your favour? I mean, you started to open up what was quite a big lead. I mean, you were up to, what, 19-11 at one stage?
Yeah. Well, as I say, he made no leads, Alan, and you can always play relaxed when they're not doing that. When you're getting chokes off their jack, it's always that bit easier. If you can put a few leads together yourself, you've more or less cracked it.
Would you rather have played what I suppose many people would have considered to be a more formidable player in the semi-final, or don't you really mind about it?
Well, I do, I play, no. No, I don't mind, honestly, no. They're all formidable anyway when they've got to this stage of the competition.
So, Mike, what do you think is the feeling at the semi-final stage then? I mean, if you play a semi-final, I mean, you've been in a semi-final here, having played a semi-final, perhaps not absolutely delighted with the way you're playing, and then facing a big final and possibly facing the favourite for the whole competition.
Yes, well, I think Roy will be very happy that he's got away with one of his not-so-good games, and yet he's never been under any pressure the whole game. They've been level at the start, but even then, Roy was in command of the game. And so he's had a comparatively easy game, a far easier game than I'm sure he expected to have in the semi-final. But as I told him a few days ago, I expected him to be in this studio now, discussing what was going to happen in the final.
Yes, well, I think we mentioned that a little bit earlier. But I mean, you brought a point in there. I mean, all right, if we say it was an easy game, perhaps there aren't an easty games, but if we say it was a relatively easy game, is it better to have an easy semi-final, or does it put you more on your mettle if you're chasing all the way in the semi-final?
Well, I felt that he had an advantage in having had quite a tough quarter-final. And it's good to have a game where you're following your opponent's leads and going all over the green, and I think that probably helped him in the semi-final. But having had one tough game, you don't want them all tough. You want one fairly easy game along the way if you can.
Roy, I don't want to say anything that's likely to upset you, but you went into that game as favourite, you proved that. Now then, you're facing the final, you don't know who you're going to meet, but most of the money's on Noel Burrows, who's odds on. Have you got a particular choice there? I mean, do you mind the thought of meeting Noel?
No, I'm easy.
But given the choice, would you choose Brian?
Not really, no. I'm not bothered, no. It's how you play on the day, you know, how they play on the day. If it's your day, you'll win. If it's not your day, you'll not win.
And do you feel at this stage that you're going to have to pick your game up for the final, whatever happens?
Well, yeah, probably, yes, but you can't tell. They may play worse than, you know, you don't know at this game.
What are you going to do now? I mean, when the second semi-finals, are you going to watch?
I'm going to play with me Rubik Cube. Rubik Cube.
Are you really not going to watch it?
No, I'm not worried, no. Relax, have a coffee.
I thought you normally went to sleep.
And then maybe somebody will come along kindly and tell you who you're going to meet in the final.
Probably, yes. We'll probably get round to it, yeah.
Well, Roy,
I'll probably hear the cheers anyway.
Congratulations on the semi and the best of luck for the final, of course. Now, in that final, it depends. You'll meet Brian Proles or possibly Noel Burrows, who is, of course, the odds-on favourite for the competition. So let's have a look how it goes. We join the commentary now with Harry Rigby.